Okay, so I have another configuration for the bracket, and that was my base piece, and everything is kind of tied to it at this point. So we're going to see what can happen when we go to start making revisions and making changes. Very few projects make it to from concept to production in this kind of original state. So one of the things I'd like to do is make a backup. So I can go to a file, pack and go, and pack and go is going to create a new folder or tie this up to a zip file. Either way, it makes it so that if I totally screw this up, I can go back to this previous starting point, this previous level. So the problem with creating a new folder and having another level is the build, and we have to kind of keep track of the naming conventions as we go. So I still want to work with this file as revision A, but I want to change it into revision B. Alright, so it just kind of depends on if we want to keep that in the name. So we'll do one of each and see what happens. Alright, so the logic should be, we're going to go to the drive, I'll go to my assignments, I'm going to create a new folder, and this will be P6-25 and revision A. And then I can select the folder, that's where it's going to be. If I add a suffix, I want to put a space RA so that it adds to the end of each of these file names the revision A, so this is going to keep track of it. Flatten to a single folder, flatten to minimal folders, or keep full folder structure. The larger the assembly and sub-assemblies, we're going to need to create those folders and subfolders to match the sub-assemblies, just to keep some semblance of order, because it can get pretty detailed, pretty crazy as we get into hundreds, if not thousands, of parts in an assembly. The other item would be the toolbox components. Right now I'm on the same computer and it's accessing the same toolbox database from the design library, so if I wanted to export those the hex screws, hex nuts to the folder as independent items, I could check that box and have it go with. Alright, so we'll save. Alright, and then as a comparison, we'll just go ahead with the pack and go. I'm not going to add a suffix to this. This is just going to be a location, and we'll give it the P6-25 revision A. Alright, and this is going to become a zip file, so it can go into, oh, I thought that was the folder. Well, that's where I wanted to put it, so not sure what just happened. Let's reverse that and save. Alright, so let's just go over. Well, that went to the assembly. Maybe it was looking for the folder. Well, let's just rename this at the location. And I'm not going to add any prefix, suffix, or email, so let's just save it. Alright, so if I come back to my Windows Explorer and then find my Google Drive, okay, I lost it for a second. The We ended up putting it into the same folder as the assembly. So this is my zip file, and it will open as a compressed file, and I'll see those items date stamped. And that basically just takes a snapshot of the assembly at this time. So if I come back over to the assembly, each one of these gets an RA on the end of it. The problem is if I work on this and then want to take another snapshot of a revision B and put it out, the revision A becomes another suffix, and then I would have RA, RB. I don't know. It needs a better need a better logic to work with. So my feeling is that as I make these changes, I'm better off just working on the same base revisions 0 file, the very first thing, and then saving revisions as I need them, or as I make changes, or want to ensure that I'm not creating any problems. So under the file properties, I'll go up to the revision and make this B. And nothing really should have to change too much. And when I right click on the part, we're going to go to the block and hit the checkbox and see what happens. Alright, so kind of as expected, we're going to lose some of these mates. Now, if I created this as a configuration, which I didn't, then I wouldn't have as much of an issue, because I would suppress. If this is a permanent kind of change, that we've made the decision that we're going to go with this manufactured machined part rather than a like the sheet metal or the fabricated part, then I didn't hit the checkbox. Okay, let me have it. And the default and checkbox. We go back, and then no major issues. Alright, so if I wanted to have both of these, then I would add a new configuration and have the machined bracket as a configuration. Something that's to keep it in track. I also get this configuration, all configurations, or specify configurations. So I want to stay in this configuration, and then go to the block and hit OK. Alright, so pretty much everything that's related to the wheel bracket currently, except for the coincidences, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So we can suppress out the mates, and that gets rid of the initial instance problems, but at this stage things can move. Alright, so we've lost that ability for the geometry. So to stay in place, I could fix those. That seems a little bit scary. It's a quick fix to go from float to fix in locations, just this configuration. And not surprisingly, we get a few type issues with the stationary arm. That one shouldn't have too much. Oh, you know what? Actually, the set screws did not need. So we can go back and float those in this configuration, and those should be okay now. So that makes it a relatively quick fix. No major damage done. And let's see, we'll do the check for the configuration. That works. That works. So in the next video, I'm going to see if what happens if I make some pretty drastic changes. So let's make sure to save this, and we're ready to go.